Brian and Kindra Show with Brian Cook and Kindra Cox of Advanced Real Estate Advisors.
I'm Kindra Cox.
And I'm Brian Cook.
Between the two of us, we have 38 years of experience in real estate.
Sharing real estate tips and advice right here on Classic Hits 107.3.
Welcome to the Brian and Kindra Show. We are glad you're here.
We are glad you're here.
Yep.
I'm Kindra Brown.
Yeah. Woohoo! I'm Brian Cook.
I was supposed to be saying that for a while, but I just keep having a hard time getting it on out there. So
I've changed my phone. I've changed your email. I've changed your... keep finding stuff. I'm like, what is this?
But earlier I saw something printed and it said Kindra Brown. I'm like, who's that? Oh, it's me.
When you called me the other day, I was like, oh yeah, got it.
Cracks me up. So here we are with the Brian and Kindra Show.
Yes.
Yes. So we're going to talk about some fun things.
We are.
We want to provide some valuable insights and some practical tips about real estate.
Yes. And we feel like we've done 100. Actually, I was looking through our shows. We've done over nearly 200 shows.
Is that right?
It's a ton. So
wow.
There's a lot of information we've pumped out to you guys.
We have pumped out some information.
So trying to get it all organized
That's
better.
exciting.
I'm not an organized guy.
I'm not
But all
either.
that being said, today we're talking about choosing the right real estate guy, girl, person, agent.
Yeah, exactly.
So we're here.
Okay, so I like this topic a lot.
It's very important.
I want to say something first.
Okay.
Like, I know, what a surprise. We recognize that we may not be the right real estate agent for you.
Right.
And actually, I put it over here on my little notes. I have number 1 through number whatever. I think the most very important thing, I'm just going to throw this on out there, is way down here on the list. That the most important thing when choosing your real estate agent is compatibility and personal connection.
Yes. I think that's a big deal. There are people out there
that you just can't connect with.
Right.
Like, and here's the thing: we want to be the one. We want to always be the one because we really, really, really love what we do. Mm-hmm. And there's an excitement about meeting new people and helping them to find what they want and helping them to find the joys of home ownership specifically for us. That's what we really love to do.
Yeah.
But we also recognize sometimes my personality might not be the one you're looking for. Never you, of course. Yeah. That might be too much to take. I've heard that about me. Anyway, so compatibility, personal connection. It's really important that you have rapport with you, between you and your real estate agent.
Yes. Yeah, you want to be open and honest. You want to be able to talk to them freely so they can hear what you're looking for, hear what you're wanting to buy, hear your concerns. Yes. So that's the big deal.
I think even communication styles, like I'm a texter. Text. You're a phone guy. This morning, a while ago, you're like, I have 4 missed calls. And I'm like, that's it for you? That's not very much.
Yeah.
But I'm like, why is my phone ringing? Like, I almost panic sometimes. I don't know when that happened, but because my mom would be like, well, wasn't you in high school?
We didn't have texting in high school.
Times they have changed.
Yes.
So communication styles, things like that also adds into that. And we'll talk a little bit more probably about that in a minute. But I just want to throw that out there first and foremost. We want to be the one, 100%.
Yes.
Want to be the one. We understand sometimes we're not going to be.
Right.
So, all right, now that we got all the depressing stuff out of the way, number 1, the importance of hiring a competent real estate agent. And I've made some little notes of what I think competency might look like, but what do you think?
Well, if you're looking for organized, it's not me. That's why I hire people.
Right?
Because I'm a doer. I'm gonna make things happen, but I might miss a signature or a date or a whole entire document.
But you're really good about getting addresses correct.
Yeah. Sometimes.
On the other hand,
I've
me.
sent some people to the wrong address before. We've termite-baited system a house or two.
Hey, that hurts my heart still thinking about that. You always got to bring that up.
But we fixed it.
Yeah.
So that's the deal. We're in it for the long game. We're here.
Mm-hmm.
So competent. There's lots of training that we do as agents. And I'm always, I probably annoy people at the amount of training I look at and do and study.
Right. You are very, very good at that. And like you really, it energizes you,
Yes.
I think, for training. And you're good about watching videos, listening to podcasts, reading reading. I'm more of a, can we go to a class and sit underneath an educator? That's my favorite kind of training. And I love that. I get all kinds of amped up about that. But that didn't happen as much as it used to. But you're like, every day you're like, you know what I learned? You know what I learned? You know what I learned?
Yep. Like this morning, I read an entire magazine, and then I sent it to Nathan, and I thought, we've been talking about all this stuff. Let's get to work.
I think
Add that to the list.
Add that to the list. Oh my gosh, Nathan, how long is your list?
It's got 5 pages.
Okay, which list are we talking about?
I know. That's exactly the thing.
See, that's the other problem.
We have a digital whiteboard. Brian has 1, 2 whiteboards in his office. I have a white wall in my office.
Then I have notes on my phone, notes on my table, notes on my sticky notes, notes on my dash, notes in my brain.
I have 3 notebooks. I can't find one, but I'm not sure which one is the operating one anyway.
Yeah.
So for real's the list.
Yes. So back to that. If you're looking for an organized agent,
Okay.
call Kindra.
We're going to talk about that in a minute, I think. I think we're going to talk a little bit about that. I think one of the things that I think is really important with competency is knowing documents and understanding how the documents work. I've heard some people talk about an agent has to be a go-getter and they have to be out in the public and they have to be really great with people. And then I feel like it's really a great combination. I think this is why you and I team so well together. I can do all the peopling things. I've done that before.
Yes.
But what we have found is that with your peopling, like I love that new term, with your peopling and with my desire for documents to be right and my desire to know our documents, that has really created an incredible storm. Documents take care of people, and that's what we want to do. I'm still a people person. I want to take care of people. I just know that when I know my documents, when I understand the process and the procedure of what we do, that takes care of our customer, and that's what I want to do.
Yes.
I think that's really important.
We're dealing with a very new agent now, and we can tell, like, oh my gosh, and you do a great job training other agents. So when they send documents, you're like, hey, here's what it says right here, just to make sure that we're all on the same page. Mm-hmm. Not like, hey, you didn't do your stuff right.
Well, I tried not to.
No, you're good at No, but
this is an out-of-town agent, too.
Yeah.
And so that's even different because I don't have a rapport, which is so hard when you don't know someone to say, hey, we're missing a few things. Let's go get us a big old fine.
Yeah, now lots of agents, brokers train their agents differently.
Sure.
We always go back to, what does the contract say again?
Right.
So we had that dispute again this morning with another agent. Like, hey, what does that contract say again? Yeah, can we do that? Yep, we'll have to amend it because it's not right, but we'll do it.
Right. You know, I taught home ec for a couple of years, and this is what I said the whole time. What's your recipe say? What's your recipe say? It's the same thing. What does the contract say?
Yes.
And it's so important. I think your competent agents know what the contract says.
Yes.
They know what they've typed. They know what's in there. They know the fine print. They're not attorneys. I'm not an attorney. You're not an attorney. I don't pretend to want to be an attorney. But I have a pretty decent knowledge of what the documents say that Oklahoma Real Estate Commission has put out for us to use with our customers. That's huge, huge important to me. Understanding the process and the procedure. And this is a part, again, with our team and why we work well together. So we have different parts of the process that we each really dive into. I've been gone a lot the last couple of weeks, and I want to apologize, but I'm not really sorry. I've enjoyed my time
accept
off.
Your apology.
Thank you. But it looks like I need to get back to work.
I made
I know, right?
While you were gone.
I don't know if I'm going to get everything caught up.
Hey.
Okay, so here's what I've noticed. It's harder. So this is interesting. Like we're having to get back into our own roles again. So this morning, you and I each were texting an agent with something that's usually my role, but because you've had to take over my job, you've kind of got back into my role. But with the way that we work and the way that we do things, like you show the properties, you make sure that buyers or sellers understand what's going to happen as far as the physical part of their property, how that part goes, and a little bit of the process and procedure of what we do. You make sure they're comfortable with the house. I make sure they're comfortable with the documents. And then I do all of the scheduling, most of the scheduling with inspectors and things like that. And then I send you back to the property and say, it's time for you to go and check out the inspection with the buyer yesterday. You did too, I think.
Yep, too.
Yeah. And I think that's a huge part of the value of a real estate agent as well, is being able to go and to help understand these different parts of the transaction. Inspections can be really stinking tricky.
Man, trip hazard, big time.
That reminds me of Harley Sadler. He was one of my favorite inspectors back some years ago. He was with Taylor and Associates. Do you remember? I don't know how many times you go, trip hazard. Trip hazard.
Yep.
And I miss him. Miss Harley. He was a good one. All right. So part of the competency of a real estate agent is knowing the process, the procedure, and how things work when buying, selling homes. Even the lending part. That's one of the things that we've talked about recently in some meetings. We can't stay on top of everything, but man, we can sure try.
Yeah.
So, all right. What else? I love this one. You're going to love this one.
This one, experience.
No, I don't
which
want
one
to
are
go
we
there
on?
yet. I want to go to this one.
Okay.
The impact of an agent on achieving your real estate goals. Like, I don't know what popped in your head, but I immediately thought of one of the investors that you've worked with for the past, I don't know, how long have you been in real estate?
21 years.
I think you've probably worked with that investor that long.
Yes.
And the impact that your working relationship has had on that person's investment business is huge.
Yes.
Absolutely huge. And I think that that's so important. And again, it comes back to having been able to develop a relationship with your customer and having the rapport with your customer to know exactly what their desires are, what their needs are, and then to help them to achieve those needs. So in that case, it's building a wealth of real estate, right?
Yeah.
They wanted bulk.
They want bulk.
They wanted bulk. It's interesting to see because sometimes it's the opposite. So sometimes we meet customers who have bulk and they're saying, it's time for me to get rid of my bulk. It's time for me to start selling this off. And that's a different situation, but the exact same thing with the impact that your agent can have on your real estate goals. If you know your agent, it's easier to achieve those goals.
Right. Even in just the house hunt. Woodward's hard
Yes,
to house hunt because
Right.
there's not many options right now.
absolutely.
So when somebody says, here's my list, and then we break it down to, okay, here's my I have to haves, and here's my
Right.
wants. Just the other day we had one that hit, and it's like, it checks almost all of your boxes. I'm missing room for the tennis court. There's no room for a tennis court. Other than that, I've checked all your boxes.
Dang it.
Can we move forward?
Are we ready to move forward and use the park?
Yeah. And she's like, let's do it. So, I mean, it was a hunt. Like when the guy called me, in my brain already wrote their name down as they were buying this house because it fit.
Oh, that's awesome.
So we bought and so it comes back to, I've known them. I had to show them a lot of houses to get to the point where I know where,
Right.
I think this checks all your boxes, but one, can we compromise and move on? And so, same type of deal. The impact finally got them settled. They are now settled and they're ready to take the next
Yes.
step in their life.
It's the 5 hours you spend in the kitchen mastering your famous recipe or spending quality time with your family. Other insurance companies may just see it as a house. It's not just a house, it's your home. Hi, I'm State Farm Agent Kevin Kanzler, and I see your home as the time and memories you put into them. I understand what your things really mean to you, and I'm here to help give them the protection they deserve. My office is located on the corner of 13th and Oklahoma and Woodward, or call me at 580-256-2216 for your home insurance today.
On Point Land Survey can take care of all your residential, commercial, and industrial survey needs. This family-owned and operated business proudly serves Northwest Oklahoma. These lifelong Northwest Oklahoma residents with over 22 years of experience are ready to serve you with the latest equipment and capable trucks to get your job done. Call On Point Land Survey today at 580-256-6757 or stop by 1918 Main Street in Woodward, Oklahoma, or visit their website at onpointlandsurveyok.com. Professional, trusted, local.
So here's the other cool thing about it. I don't know how to phrase this question, but I know that you've had customers that you've sold them multiple properties. And a lot of times that starts out as maybe a beginning home and then a little move up and then another move up. And then next, you're going to see downsize. And I think that's another part of the real estate planning part, that if you can develop and continue relationship rapport with your realtor, then your realtor can help you to make really informed choices. And that's one of the things I've seen this week in the text. Now, don't forget, I'm going to sell this house in 2 years. If I purchase it at this, if I do this thing to it, will I be able to sell for this much more and get that return on my investment? They're looking at their home as a true investment. Right. I actually look at my home not so much as a financial investment for the next 2 years, but in the next 30 years.
Right.
They're looking at it for right now. So I don't know if I'm saying that right, but again, it goes back to you being able to help them to real estate plan We've got to do this to get to this level, to get to this level, and then to downsize down here, but to be able to do that with the financial impact that they're probably looking for with retirement.
Absolutely.
I think that that's a process that we don't always consider, especially a first-time home buyer. I mean, when I bought my first home, never even thought twice.
I want to be able to paint the door yellow.
That wasn't my first home. And FYI, my next door is going to be green.
Okay.
It's going to be like so cute, like the green on the map back behind you. Oh my gosh, it's going to look so stinking good. Okay. Anyway, now I think the thing is, like, when I bought my first home, I didn't think, I thought I'm going to live here forever, which I think a lot of people do. And then, you live there for 2 years or for 5 years, and then you move. And had I really focused harder, kind of like buying cars, if I had focused more on, with more intentionality, if I had had some valuable insight from my agent back then, might have made some different choices on which home that I purchased. And then whenever it came time to sell it, how I was selling it and what I was doing with the return of my investment. I think that's the value of a real estate agent, that you really develop rapport with.
Right. Yes. So just like my wife and I, she bought a house as a home.
Yes.
I knew I was selling it.
Right.
Like, okay, we're buying this one because I know I can sell it. I'm buying this one. Now she's finally got me to the point to, like, you ain't selling my house.
Yeah.
So the last one I could, sorry, it's done.
And it's hard in the real estate mind. It's really hard to buy that way.
Yeah, because I'm done making money on my house.
It's interesting. All right, next up, this was you, I think. You wanted to talk about the role of a real estate agent. I feel like we kind of hit a lot of that.
I was bouncing way down.
Oh, my bad. Okay, where are you at? How about what? I can't read.
Explaining the primary responsibilities of a real estate agent. So what's our primary role? So you're the person you're hunting for. Now it goes back to the same thing. Are you hunting me the deal of a lifetime, or are you hunting me a home? So what is our responsibility? Like, there's lots. I mean, that's a whole nother show. But basically, we want to make sure you're comfortable in purchasing the home. We want to give you the advice necessary to make the right decision. Of course, also that's back into the communication where we're listening to you. You're telling us what you're wanting. We're helping you check your boxes. And then we're weighing out the pros and cons of, it doesn't have a tennis court, but man, this outdoor kitchen is 3 times what I wanted. This is great. So so the responsibilities, that's one of it. The next is the documents that we've already talked about.
Right.
Getting the contracts right, getting it to closing, protecting your legal rights in that property to make sure that we've got all that covered. And then I always throw the thing in there. Most people, we work about the resale. Somebody will sell your house someday.
Right.
So, So we want to make sure we've advised you clear into that. Our responsibility is to advise you and walk you through the transaction.
So this came up a couple of weeks ago. We have a buyer who's actually purchasing in a different community, and the property that they were looking at had a flat roof. So I think this is important to discuss, because sometimes we talk about resellability. That doesn't mean we're telling you don't buy. It doesn't mean we're not willing to do your contract. We are just trying to make sure that you have the education. I overheard you in the conversation with this person who is very knowledgeable about property types and about what a flat roof does and what it can do. Because a flat roof can create some water issues if it's not properly done, right?
Right.
Okay. So you had this full-on conversation, but it didn't end with, I don't want you to buy this house. It ended with, just remember, when you go to sell, your buyer's going to have all the questions plus more that you and I have already discussed, but they're not going to have your expertise in the area. And I think that that's really important. We still wrote the contract. We still made the offer. We still did all of the work to assist the buyer. We just made sure that they had a little bit more information.
Yes.
Right?
Yep.
I think that's important. It's not saying that we're saying don't do it. We're not ever talking anybody out of buying the home that they want. We just want them to have all the information so that they can make the best choice possible.
Yes.
Right? Right. The information that we know.
Yeah.
What we don't know, we can't share.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Questions to ask when you were interviewing an agent. What would you ask first? Legit, whenever you call, because you've been shopping in Georgetown, you've shopped in Oklahoma City, you've shopped in Stillwater, you've shopped in Wichita. What's the first question you ask an agent when you interview one?
How long have you been around? I want to know how long they've been in the area and how long they've been in real estate. So I went with an individual down to another town, and I talked to just a few people, and I realized real quick, one of these guys just moved here. You don't know nothing about nothing. And the house we were talking about was not a great neighborhood. Really nice house, but why in the world? He told us all the reasons people don't live. He didn't. The neighbor. We ran into a neighbor while we was looking at houses.
How funny.
And the neighbor's like,
Which is great.
Here's why I probably wouldn't buy here again. And he just listed all this stuff off, and I thought, oh, God, I understand now. So that's why the house was so cheap, because we kept asking, why is this house so cheap? Why is this house so cheap? And he's like, I don't know, just right time, the right place. And I'm like, no.
Right time in the wrong place.
Yes. So again, I want to know, and here's my deal. Any house I'm buying at this point on for my kid, for an investment, is all resale. I'm buying it to rent it or resell it. That's the two things now. So when I go to a different town, if I'm buying something in Georgetown or Wichita, if my kid decides to move, I need to sell that house and sell it quickly, and I don't want to lose money. So I want to know somebody that knows the area and is going to be there when I go to sell it. How long are you going to be in real estate?
I want to know what their work schedule looks like. I want to know if they work like we do.
Right.
And I I said we because, like last night I wasn't working and you were working.
Yeah.
And probably at 4:30 this morning also. You slept until 5. Good for you. I'm proud. Okay. I want to know what their work schedule looks like. I want to know if they're only willing to work from 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. or if I have a question at 6:30, even if it's a little quick one, if they're going to be able to talk to me. I want to know if they're going to be able to show me houses or schedule me houses to be shown on a weekend whenever I have some availability. I want to know that kind of stuff. I want to know how many transactions they have under their belt recently, specifically, because things change, loans change. And I feel like I have a heck ton of knowledge from my past in real estate.
Right.
But I lose. I mean, it's that whole use it or lose it. And if I weren't continuing to be in real estate now, none of that information really does me any good.
Right.
Like saying I was a realtor 20 years ago. Unfortunately, if you haven't been a realtor in the last couple of years, you don't really know what's going on.
Yeah.
And so I think it's really important. So those are questions I want to know. How many transactions and what does your work time? I don't want them to work 24/7. Don't get me wrong. I don't want to work 24/7.
Right.
But I just want to know that I'm going to be able to get a response if I need something.
Yes.
Right?
Yep.
What do you think about that?
That's 100% true. We were looking at houses at 8 o'clock at night in another town.
Right.
That was our only
when you could.
availability. Now, we did message a few real estate agents. One of them called me back the next day. They don't work like we do, but it's okay.
Which 8 o'clock at night might be a little unreasonable.
Yeah, but it's more of a.
But if you called at 4 in the afternoon
on this deal, so yeah.
I mean, I feel like there's some. I'm saying that with a reasonable mind, not with a completely unrealistic.
Right.
You will be available at my every beck and call. That's not what I mean.
No.
But I mean, with some reasonable expectations, I want to know that I'm going to be able to have clear communication with someone.
Yes. Yep.
Thinking again, I mean, even as we deal with agents from agent to agent, if I'm working with an agent from a different community and I'm having a hard time getting a response or getting documents back, not a good sign. And I worry about their customer.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. Okay. All right. Anyway, I think those are some interesting things to consider. So those are some questions to ask whenever you're interviewing an agent. This one, we talked about this a minute ago, but how do they communicate? I want my agent to text me. You want your agent to call you?
I'm okay with the text, but one text leads to 14 other questions. You might as well call me.
I think my husband probably agrees with you.
Yes.
But legit, I'm text, and then I'll call you whenever I know I need to.
Yep.
And then asking for references or client testimonials. And I think that that's a great idea. And this is not something that I necessarily have in my back pocket. Like if you said, Kindra, who's your reference? I'd probably have to call a couple people real quick. Hey, can they call you? But I don't think we'd have a hard time finding them. I have a list. I just need to ask, I guess, first.
Well, that's what. So, and this is one thing we don't do a great job doing, and we're going to be working on it. But we don't ask for enough. We've done a lot of people a good job. Mm-hmm. We need them to go put that online somewhere.
Right. I think that's one of my jobs that I don't get to.
And so, like, we had a customer the other day that met me in the parking lot. I pull in the parking lot.
Yes.
I jump out of the truck, leave the car open, leave the door open, leave the keys in it. It's running. I run inside, grab something. I come back out. She's standing at the door of my truck, and she's like, I see you're in a hurry. Here's the keys to my house. The name's on the tag. I'm going to call you, and we'll get this situated out. I need you to sell my house. I'm like,
right.
Okay, what's your name? She goes, Trish. I'm like,
Great to meet you.
Great to meet you. You didn't tell me your last name or phone number, or do you even know who I am? Hey, I'm Brian. And then she zooms off, and I'm like, I jump in my truck, and I'm like, I can't remember where I was going now, but that was awesome. And then, so I finally got a hold of her about 8 o'clock that night. She calls me. She goes, hey, I'm assuming you're slowing down by now. Here's who I am. Here's the property. I gave you the key. Let me know what you think. And I said, okay, how'd you get my name? She's like,
Right.
yeah, of course. We got online and researched all of your testimonials.
Right.
And so, so yeah, online, they're on there. They're not all on there. So make sure, so
Right.
you can ask for them like, hey, call the local title companies. Hey, I'm looking to use Kindra. Is she a decent real estate agent? Now
It's a little different with us.
yeah. And I think that I think I've done that before. I've called title companies or lenders in areas and be like, hey, I'm looking for an agent. I know you can't refer, but because they're good at that, saying, no, we don't refer.
Right.
But I'm looking at these 3. Are they great? Is there one you would recommend over the others? And I generally get an answer. So there's a tip to find you a good agent in a different town.
I like it.
We can do that for you. I don't mind doing that. I've got an agent down in Texas, Dallas right now, we actually referred him down there. He's doing a good job. They're listing their house today. They had a hard time. They've dealt with 3 or 4 different realtors.
Oh, gosh.
And it was really an unfortunate deal because all 3 realtors were more of we're just going to buy your house and not list it.
Oh.
And they just felt
Right.
like they were trapped in this black hole of not right selling market people. So got him with an actual agent that's going to help him sell his house.
Okay, real quick. What do you think are some red flags to watch out for with choosing a real estate agent?
Ooh.
I'm going with poor responsiveness again.
Yes.
And I say this knowing full well that some people are going to go, you guys suck at responsiveness. And sometimes we do. Sometimes we both get so bogged down that we don't get everything done. And that's one of my biggest regrets. Like, but there are also times that you just have to put your phone down. Like, I think we both have come up with that the last month or so. Taking off work, I realize does this to us, but like a couple of weeks ago, I didn't go home before 8 o'clock or something.
Every night.
And at some point I had to say, okay, I really hate to, but I have to put my phone down. And so I know that could come back to hurt me to say that, but poor responsiveness, generally speaking, I think we do a good job of getting people called back and taking care of people and texting. Generally, I don't think we drop the ball.
Right.
But occasionally it does happen. But that's something I want to know about is if an agent is going to be a good response. Knowledge about the local market.
That's a big deal. We hit that.
Huge.
High pressure is a big deal to me.
We do not sell
No
houses.
one needs to sell you a house.
No.
No one needs to say, okay, it's time to buy something.
No.
That's not the way to do that. So
No.
if they're pushing you to buy something, then you probably need to find somebody else.
Going right back to what you said a while ago, that you've showed these customers houses for quite some time.
Yeah.
We don't sell houses. We take care of customers.
Right. Yes.
That's important.
Yeah. And I've had people apologize. I'm sorry. We're still looking at houses. I'm
No,
like, hey,
keep
I've had a
looking.
9-year because I took my 9 years to find them the house they wanted. I'm okay with that.
That's all right. We just want you to be
Yes.
happy.
Yeah.
Unprofessionalism or unethical conduct. I think unethical is, here's the deal. Professionalism, we all have a different idea of what that looks like.
Right.
But unethical, out. Never.
Out.
Don't want it. Do what you say. Do what you're supposed to do.
Yep.
And so, what do you think?
I think that's a wrap. We appreciate you guys listening. We've got lots of information. If you guys just want to come hang out and talk, we got coffee. I'm going to go get some. And we can walk you through the buying process. Even if you're going to another town, I'm meeting with the customer in Oklahoma City. Same type of deal. Just making sure they're getting taken care of.
Right.
I'm not getting paid. We don't have to get paid to do that.
Right.
We're just interviewing his agents to make sure that they're getting taken care of. So,
Awesome.
hey, thanks for listening. It's the Brian and Kindra Show, and we're here Thursday nights, 5:30 on 107.3.
See you next time.
See you next time.
Your new favorite, Classic Hits 107.3 KLSI Moreland Woodward. Tell a friend.
It's the Brian and Kindra Show with Brian Cook and Kindra Cox of Advanced Real Estate Advisors.
I'm Kindra Cox.
And I'm Brian Cook.
Between the two of us, we have 38 years of experience in real estate.
Sharing real estate tips and advice right here on Classic Hits 107.3.
Welcome to the Brian and Kindra Show. We are glad you're here.
We are glad you're here.
Yep.
I'm Kindra Brown.
Yeah. Woohoo! I'm Brian
I
Cook
was
still.
supposed to be saying that for a while, but I just keep having a hard time getting it on out there. So
I've changed my phone. I've changed your email. I've changed your... keep finding stuff. I'm like, what is this?
But earlier I saw something printed and it said Kindra Brown. I'm like, who's that? Oh, it's me.
When you called me the other day, I was like, oh, yeah, got it.
Cracks me up. So here we are with the Brian and Kindra Show.
Yes,
Yes. So we're going to talk about some fun things.
we are.
We want to provide some valuable insights and some practical tips about real estate.
Yes. And we feel like we've done 100. Actually, I was looking through our shows. We've done over nearly 200 shows.
Is that right?
It's a ton. So
Wow.
there's a lot of information we've pumped out to you guys.
We have pumped out some information.
So trying to get it all organized
That's
better. 'cause
exciting.
I'm not an organized guy.
I'm not
But all that
either.
being said, today we're talking about choosing the right real estate guy, girl, person